Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang delivered massive news for stock market investors. The company announced a big partnership with GM and highlighted its robotics industry total addressable market opportunity and in the near term how much revenue they're generating from the industry as it is. So I'll go over those details and what it could mean for Nvidia stock investors both in the short term and in the long term.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So starting with the robotics business, because it's connected to the partnership with GM, NVIDIA CEO saying that the robotics business includes self-driving cars, humanoid robots, robotic factories, robotic warehouses, and lots of robotic things. That business is already many billions of dollars, at least $5 billion today, and the automotive industry, it's growing quite fast. Also, yesterday, which is March 18th, 2025, they announced a big partnership with General Motors. And so let me break this down and what it means for NVIDIA stock investors. So I've been talking about in these last 2 years the opportunity for NVIDIA and driverless car technology and how that could be the next driver of growth for this business. Now, in the next year and 2 years, it's likely to continue growing the data center segment for artificial intelligence quite robustly. And that's just from the cloud service providers, including Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet. That part of its business is likely to continue thriving for at least 2 years because we have forecasts from those large companies and how much they're going to spend with NVIDIA. And those numbers are in the hundreds of billions of dollars. So that's going to be great news for NVIDIA for the next couple of years. But I think most of the market already has priced that into NVIDIA's stock. That's already incorporated into NVIDIA's prospects for the next year, for the next 2 years. But what NVIDIA stock investors are most concerned about is beyond that, is after these cloud service providers change their data centers, upgrade their data centers from CPU-based to GPU-based. After that, what's going to be the next driver? And I've been discussing driverless car technology as that next big thing for NVIDIA. And this partnership with GM is an early indication of that. So when I talk about driverless car technology, I'm not just talking about cars on the road with no driver in the seat. I'm talking about people being in the car, but being assisted with driverless car technology. So you might be able to turn on the system in certain situations. Let's say you're stuck in traffic and you're barely moving. You can turn on that driverless car technology and let it, go forward and stop for a little while and thereby help make that a little bit more pleasant when you're stuck in traffic. Or it might be in assisting you when you don't see something happening and you're not moving away from a potential disaster. The technology can move the car out of the way or brake or change lanes in a rapid instant to help avoid a disaster. So safety features, and then also maybe help with if you're trying to park in a tight space and you're not very good at parking in tight spaces, the car can help you park in that space. So those kinds of things incrementally moving forward towards a complete system of driverless cars on the roads today more broadly, right? Right now, we have driverless cars on the roads in several places. Here in Los Angeles, I see them all the time. I see Waymo driverless cars all the time on the streets and people taking rides. So it's already out there. But when we talk about it, we're talking about it being more broadly available outside of just these few cities, these few pathways, and available more broadly, which is likely to take a longer time. And if there is, and that development improves, NVIDIA is going to be a driver of that technology, right? If NVIDIA's computing capacity improves, then that can be something that accelerates the development of driverless car technology because NVIDIA's technology improves the computing power that can be on board and thereby make these cars safer and be able to operate more efficiently, more effectively. But that's going to be dependent on NVIDIA in large part, in addition to the car companies developing that technology. So after these next 2 years, where the cloud service providers build out those businesses, the driverless car technology segment could be that next driver for NVIDIA that brings in the tens of billions of dollars in revenue that right now they're getting from these data center AI providers. So NVIDIA also talked about the vast majority of the world's inference is on NVIDIA today, and it's an extremely hard problem. And because NVIDIA is the leading edge provider of this accelerated computing technology, whenever there's demand for the cutting edge technology, NVIDIA will benefit. Now, there are other providers. For instance, Google is developing its own TPUs, they call them tensor processing units. And Amazon is also creating its own chips called Trainium, which is available for those businesses that are not looking for the cutting edge accelerating computing, but they're looking for, a lower cost option to save money. But if you're not trying to save money and you're just trying to get like the best in class performance, NVIDIA is the option you go to. And now, with these large language models being capable of reasoning, the demand for NVIDIA's technology is now increased. And that's because it's an extremely hard problem to solve. And so you need the best technology to accelerate the solving of these problems instead of choosing a lower cost option, which might be for some of those companies that don't need that latest technology, right? Amazon, I believe, cites some of the companies that are using its Trainium chips. And the excuse me. And these companies are not ChatGPT, right? They're not the ones developing these latest and greatest large language models. So I think that's reassuring for Nvidia stock investors that, after these next 2 years, for the next 2 years, they have solid demand from the cloud service providers. And then beyond that, they have this opportunity in robotics that can be just as large, if not larger, than the opportunity they had in the data center AI segment. Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce that my book is finally available for sale. I've been working on it for more than a year now, so I'm really excited to finally share this with you now. It goes through my framework for evaluating stocks. Some of you often ask why I like this stock or why I like the other stock, and this framework provides you the things that I look at when I'm evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.